Today's Gospel is taken from Mark, and it's chapter 1, beginning at verse 29. As soon as they left the synagogue, they entered the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. Now Simon's mother-in-law was in bed with a fever, and they told him about her at once. Jesus came and took her by the hand and lifted her up. Then the fever left her, and she began to serve them. That evening at sundown they brought to him all who were sick or possessed with demons, and the whole city was gathered around the door. And Jesus cured many who were sick with various diseases and cast out many demons, and he would not permit the demons to speak because they knew him. In the morning, while it was still very dark, he got up and went out to a deserted place, and there he prayed. And Simon and his companions hunted for him. When they found him, they said to him, "Everyone is searching for you." He answered, "Let us go on to the neighboring towns, so that I may proclaim the message there also. For this is what I came out to do." And he went throughout Galilee, proclaiming the message in their synagogues and casting out demons. Sometimes people notice that I walk with a limp, and they ask me, "Have you hurt your leg?" I'm afraid that I usually laugh now because my left foot has dragged for more than 30 years. I have a rare condition called multifocal motor neuropathy, and it's the result of my immune system attacking the motor nerves in my arms and my legs. When I first went to the doctor all those years ago, he thought that I might have motor neuron disease, which begins with similar symptoms. And I lived for a couple of years not knowing how ill I would eventually become before, mercifully at last, I received a diagnosis, and I was told, yes, it was something that had not been identified before, but now was going to be called multifocal motor neuropathy. It couldn't be cured, but there was a treatment, and that treatment has proved very effective for me down the years, and it's something that I can administer at home, usually on a Saturday or a Sunday. Over the years, other Christians have prayed for me to be healed, and I have gone forward in hope for laying on of hands for healing on a number of occasions. But the illness has stubbornly persisted. But I am thankful. I'm thankful that I've not become severely disabled or indeed died at a young age. I'm thankful that there is a treatment which works so well that most of the time I don't even think about the symptoms that I have. And I'm particularly thankful for the NHS, which supplies it. It's delivered to my door every 3 months, and it doesn't cost me anything. In many countries in the world where the treatment is available, it costs thousands of pounds each year to the person who uses it. I'm also thankful that I don't need to go into hospital every month, as I did for more than 20 years, and to have it administered through a drip. These days I can inject it myself. Yes, of course, I would have been very happy to be healed as a result of prayer. But in truth, I'm content. I've learned to live with what one of my consultants called a damn nuisance condition. I wouldn't mind a miracle, but it'll be okay if it never happens. I don't want to compare my situation with the people who came to Jesus for healing. There were a few doctors around, but medicine was still in its infancy, and any treatment, and treatments were very much trial and error, were reserved for the wealthy. What Jesus brought was completely different. He gained a reputation as a powerful healer, and that drew people to him from far and wide. There are many accounts in the Gospels of him healing physical and mental illness and disability. There are stories about casting out demons which are described in detail on at least 7 different occasions and referred to regularly in the Gospels as part of Jesus' ministry. Possession by evil spirits isn't something I have ever encountered. I've been asked for help on many occasions by people who've experienced something in their home that's troubling them. People describe unnerving experiences with objects being moved when there was no one in the room, pictures falling off the wall, strange noises, odd smells, and unexpectedly cold places in their home. What I and colleagues do in those situations is to go to the house when we can and say prayers and blessings in each of the rooms. And I will talk with the people who live there and explain that God's love, God's loving power, is stronger than anything that exists in our world, and certainly is more powerful than anything that could trouble us. I encourage people to light a candle and to pray the Lord's Prayer when they need to remind themselves of that. It's tempting to speculate about what's behind these things, but no one really knows. My experience suggests that the best way to deal with them is to turn to God and to stay calm until they go away. I'm inclined to think that what's attributed in the Gospels to possessions by demons is mostly mental illness. It can certainly seem like some malign force has taken over the personality of someone who suffers a psychotic episode. And like me, you may well have said to someone who feels bad for what they did when they were ill, it wasn't you. You were not yourself. Effective treatments for any form of mental illness has really only become possible in the last 100 years. And there is still a huge way to go. There's a great deal of misunderstanding and much that has not yet been discovered about the complex workings of the human brain. The healing miracles of Jesus were truly wonderful, not because he was able to do what was otherwise impossible at that time and perhaps at any time, but because of the difference that it made to individuals and to their families. Miracles are rare, and they are by their nature unexpected. We can hope and pray for a miracle, but why God allows the impossible to happen at some times, very rarely, very occasionally, very unexpectedly, is a complete mystery. Anything miraculous, though, is a sign and a promise of what God will bring to the whole of his creation. A glimpse now of life without pain, without distress, and without death. Life which will be fulfilled when God's kingdom comes.